So are we headed for a big real estate market crash or a big real estate market recovery in the next 12 months?
And I mean, like,
This is the St. George Real Estate Morning Drive. What's going on, Jesse?
good morning.
I think that's a question that everybody's going to ask. As a matter of fact, if we started every single show for the rest of all time with that hook, people would say, who? What's he talking about?
Well, that is one of the biggest questions or comments we get. I'm just waiting for the market to crash.
Yeah.
Right. Or just wait.
I'm just waiting for it to recover.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for it. Right. If it's a seller, I'm just going to wait for the market to recover.
Yeah.
If it's a buyer, I'm going to wait until we get to the bottom.
Yeah.
It's funny that in the same time, you have the opposite excuse.
Well, we're going to talk about something today, Jesse.
Right. Or reason.
Yeah. This is phenomenal. We're going to talk about something called the tale of two markets today.
Mm-hmm.
And, everybody's always hanging out for that conversation. I was visiting, where the heck was I last weekend? I was at the St. George Farmers Market, the downtown Farmers Market, by the way, every week at Vernon Wortham Park. Check them out at Downtown Farmers on Instagram. And I got visiting with somebody about the real estate market, right? And they said, oh, you guys do a radio show? What do you talk about? How could you've done almost 700 shows. I think it's like 675.
Yeah.
675 shows. What could you talk about? And I said, do you understand that there is enough content to not just have a radio show every week, to have one every day. This actually could be a 5-day-a-week syndicated program, right?
Yeah.
In terms of the real estate market, because we could talk national, we could talk local, we could talk state. And here's the thing. Everybody cares about real estate now. They care about it a little more or less depending on where they are in their own cycle.
The process, right.
But Jesse, how often, so we produce something called a property impact report. By the way, if you're listening right now, and you are like, hey, I love what you guys talk about, and you own a home and you're not getting one of our property impact reports, I want you to text me today. I'm going to give you my direct cell number. Here we go. Guys, stop your car. Don't roll the vehicle. 435-862-8467. 435-862-8467. Text me and go, dude, I want the report. If you're not getting a property impact report right now, and you're in the public, you're crazy. Anyway, that's a great line from Nacho Libre. And so, when you look at this data, how many times do we call someone, Jesse, who has a property impact report going, and they've been opening them every week or every 2 weeks or every month, and they go, honestly, we're not going anywhere, but I love looking at it.
So many times.
Yeah, it's normal.
Yeah, it's pretty normal. People love. I just got one yesterday, and I got a message saying, "Hey, I think this value is still too low." One of my best clients ever. She's just awesome. So I called her. She's like, "Oh man, I was messing with the dial and I left it in the high spot. I didn't realize it was going to send you a message."
Yeah.
But she was in there for a good 45 minutes in that report.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Just diving in, going, wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So look, people are interested in real estate, Jesse. And I'll share a quote here. Since the national pandemic housing boom fizzled out in 2022, the national power dynamic, we mean in buyers versus sellers, has slowly been shifting from sellers to buyers. Of course, across the country, that shift has varied significantly. This guy from a guy named Lance Lambert, which is hilarious because Lance Lambert went to high school with me, but not this one. And this guy's he's a residential, real estate expert. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about how the power has shifted from sellers to buyers. And I'm going to say something, I want to tease something out. We've talked about this on the show 20 times. I used to love the 10 o'clock news. I grew up on the KSL 10 o'clock news. My parents still watch it. And you know how they'd tell you tonight at 10 and they'd tease you with the story. Yeah. And then at 10:27, they run the story. Right. That's to keep you there. The cool thing is, guys, we're going to deliver value, really fascinating stuff for the next 21 minutes. It's a guarantee. By the way, it's fun. It's a money back guarantee for whatever you invested in the show this morning. Wink, wink. Our show is brought to you by our friends at Guild Mortgage. Chantry Abbott, Guild Mortgage. These guys do a ton of, speaking of buyers and sellers, lending for us. They help our buyers qualify and make the dream of homeownership actually not a dream, but a reality. And we love working with them. Glitchbusters, these guys handle all of our IT work. They can handle all of your IT work in your home, which is kind of cool. They keep us from getting screwed up and snooped in on and our data getting sucked into the dark web. And by the way, it's happened before Glitchbusters. And then Ronnie LeBaron came to our rescue.
Yep.
And
he saved us from that.
And the show is produced by our friends at Blueform Media, at Blueform Media. If you're a business owner, they're giving us some cool moves back here. If you're a business owner, maybe you're just like a home podcast or whatever, they can help you produce your podcast. So let's talk about this for just a minute. All right. So by the way, guys, this is a show that, if say you're watching this on YouTube later in time, we're going to put a lot of cool stuff on the screen for you today, guys. So this is fascinating. Buyer and seller dynamics have shifted. And the thing I want to tease out, well, I had a gal call me yesterday. Wonderful woman. She lives in the Legacy at Southgate.
Oh, yeah.
Jeremy, I listened to your show. I said, thank you. I knew there was at least one person. That's one of my favorite jokes. And it kind of has dad joke vibes. And she's getting ready to move and downsize. And as a lot of our listeners know, we specialize in working with downsizers.
Yep.
She said, I'm moving the next 6 months to live with my daughter in northern Utah. Wonderful conversation. And she said, she immediately said something on the phone call. I know right now is a terrible time to sell my home. Okay, so let's present a bias. I know right now is a terrible time to sell my home. Okay, this is interesting. That is one possibility. Now, I'm going to, by the way, she's owned the home since it was built in 2006. Now, I'm going to have some fun with you for a minute, Jesse.
Okay.
It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath Legacy unit. Should we just make a guess at a value? By the way, I've done no research. So, ma'am, if you're listening, I have no idea what it's worth. 350, 400?
It's a 2-bedroom?
3-bedroom.
3-bedroom, 2-bath?
I don't know.
Probably 450.
I'll bet you they paid $175,000 for that. So here's the interesting thing about that. Well, actually, it was 2006, 7. They might have paid like 200, 250. Okay.
Yeah.
If I told anyone in the studio or the listening audience, you bought a home for 250, but today it sells for 350. You bought a home for 250, but today it sells for 400. You bought a home for 250, but for today it sells for 550. Just that alone. Would you say that you won or you lost, Jesse?
You won.
Did you win big time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
because you got to figure that's a 20-year period. You gained $200,000.
Now let's pretend that you bought a home for 250. It's worth 425 today. But 3 years ago, you saw your friend selling for 500.
Yeah.
Could you now say that you lost? You could start to make the argument.
Yeah. Well, and that's unfortunately when, as human beings, that's what we hold on to. We always look at what was.
Yeah.
Especially if it was in the more positive, right?
Yeah. So
like when I was younger, remember the good old days. We do that with every area of our life.
I saw this phenomenal piece yesterday. It was from Dr. Daniel Amen, as in Amen.
The brain doctor, yeah.
He's a brain doctor. And you know what the research was? This is kind of fun for anyone out there listening. He said people who believe in God are statistically and in every single measure happier than people who don't. And here's what was interesting about it. You're like, where's he going?
Interesting.
Here's where he goes. Here's the deal, guys. And then we're going to bring this back to real estate. You're stuck on the planet in a body. Okay. Things go wrong on repeat.
Yeah, all the time.
Okay. So you really have two options. You can say that you're alone and you're just spinning on this orb and there's nothing out there that's bigger than you. Or you could say, I'm just going to choose to believe that there's something bigger than me and there's some sort of purpose in my occasional suffering. And there's something that I'm being taught and led to do. Does this make, and this is what he talked about. The reason, this is a brain doctor.
Well, and if coming from anybody else, I would be skeptical, but he does a lot of research.
So here's my point.
Behind
you
opinions.
can believe that this is a bad time to sell, or you can believe this is a good time to sell. I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of that is, first of all, going to have more to do with when you bought your home than anything. And number two, if you need to move, you need to move. And so, guys, the buyer and seller dynamics have shifted. And this is kind of fascinating. In the West, right now, we are sitting on 189,563 buyers. Let's call it 190, sellers. There are 190,000 sellers currently in the West, and there are only 122,000 buyers. So this is why she alluded to, hey, this feels like a bad time to sell. It's because the value of real estate is down from 2022.
Yeah.
And Jesse, if home values had continued increasing, this is at least the 50th time we've talked about this. If home values had continued increase from 2022, anywhere, listen, even at a fraction of what they did, how, if it's unaffordable now, how out of control would home values be?
Oh, it would be astronomical.
It'd be astronomical.
Well, think of California when it goes crazy, right?
Yeah.
California is the most volatile state in the nation. Like, man, it goes up and down like crazy. And had they not did what they've done with interest rates, we would be looking like that as well. And we'd probably honestly be like a Park City.
Yeah.
Where our median home value is $1 million.
Oh, it's, by the way, the median home value is $2 million.
Well, I don't think we would be quite that far, but we would be a mini Park City where right, the median would be $1 million had it not stopped.
Well, and it's interesting. Jesse has always asked, "Are we a mini Park City?" And
I've been asking that for years,
and I contend it because some of the dynamics are the same in that St. George is a lot more multicultural than a lot of the cities in the state, like Park City. It draws a ton of out-of-state buyers in. It draws a lot of big money in for people to live in high-end properties. But here's the difference. Do you know that our median home price just looks like Utah counties or Salt Lakes?
Yeah.
Literally, it's the exact same.
Yep.
So our home values, guys, in St. George actually look a lot like Utah and Salt Lake County. Now, let me say something. Why are we here? Well, I have a map up. It's a map of the 50 states, Jesse.
So here's the hard part about us being like Utah County or Salt Lake. Our median income, I don't think, is as much as theirs.
You got it, amigo.
So our values are a lot more expensive when you think of the local worker. That's why that's a problem.
You're not wrong. Thanks for adding that in.
In Park City, the population between the people that live and work there and the money that comes in as second homes is a lot different than it is here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our population is a lot bigger than just the people with money coming in.
Yeah.
That's why it's a problem.
Yeah, it's fascinating, right? And let me show you something, Jesse.
I'm ready.
Inventory in the state of Utah, meaning available housing, is up by 23%.
And that's from
pre-pandemic. And here's the fascinating part. That's from 2019 to 2025. It's up 30% in Colorado, 30% in Arizona, 22% in Idaho. But here's the funny part. It's down by 0.2% and 6% in California. Isn't that weird?
So here's why I want to put some perspective on this. In 2019, in fact, when COVID happened, we were actually getting ready to go into a correction. We were in a, 2012.
Values had been up for about 7-8 years.
Well, more than that.
Probably
well, I guess 2011 to 19. Yeah, you're right.
Well, 2011 was the bottom. So basically 7 years, 12 to 19. Mm-hmm.
So, and it should be a 5 to 7 year cycle where it
undulates.
Right? Yeah. Good word. And we.
He wanted to say manipulate.
I did, but it wasn't the right word. So, and we were ready for that in 2019 and 2020, and it was actually happening, and then COVID happened. You did that video, April of 2020. What if this actually
caused our market to go crazy?
And it did. So basically, we skipped a cycle twice. We skipped a cycle from 2000. Well, actually, we didn't in that one. So 2008 to 11, that's a good cycle, 5 years.
Yeah.
And then we were going up from 2012 to 19 to 20, and then skyrocketed.
And really,
2020.
2007 to 11.
Yeah.
It was right.
So we skipped a market. So that's why this is so significant, being 22% more inventory than in 2019, because we were in a correction when COVID happened.
You're spot on. And this is kind of a fascinating slide. These are the markets where sellers have the most power in North America. And I want you to notice which part of the country is not on the list. Rochester, New York, Batavia, New York, New Philadelphia, Ohio, Alma, Missouri, Fairbanks, Alaska, Syracuse, New York, Buffalo, New York. Minot is however everyone I've heard it said, but different ways from Eric Hatch and those guys. North Dakota. Fremont, Ohio, Sterling, Illinois. Which part of the country is not on that list, gang?
The West.
The West. Here's where buyers have the most power. Not surprising, the first 4 of the 10. Florida, North Carolina, Indiana, Alabama, North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and a place in Missouri. And here's the funny part. You don't actually see the West on there either. So what happens is we're kind of somewhere in the middle. So here's why I'm telling you this. People are like, this is a terrible time to sell. Actually, the data doesn't say that at all.
No, we're actually pretty much right here, more of a balanced market.
Yeah.
Now are buyers getting some good deals? Yes.
Yeah. So
they are. So
let's talk about interest rates, Jesse. Lawrence Yun, he's been the chief economist of NAR, National Association of Realtors, forever. He makes this quote, even incremental small changes in mortgage rates, I think will bring more buyers. We saw rates fall by like a quarter of a point. Maybe it was like from 6.8 to 6.6, 6.7 to 6.5 in the last month. And we saw a big spike in activity, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay. He's not wrong. He's absolutely not wrong. Slightly lower mortgage rates toward the end of the year could further improve affordability, but significant improvements appear unlikely. Here's why this is so important. Buyers are waiting for rates to fall to buy, and sellers are waiting for rates to fall because I think prices are going to spike again.
Yep.
And what does the chief economist at Zillow Home Loans say? Don't plan on it. It ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
So, guys, don't talk to me. I'm just a real estate agent, or as some of us like to say, a realtor. I'm just a realtor in Southern Utah. You know, I just walk the dogs this morning. I'm not the chief economist of anything, but I can tell you right now that the chief economists of them, not that kind of they, them, right? But they say this is they. Well, and they're saying, guys, don't plan on big, and here's the projections, Jesse. Not the projection. We'll talk about how it changes.
Well, and
price.
it's not just Zillow. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, even the economist at Goldman Sachs said the same thing. Just a couple months ago, we were in a meeting, and it wasn't that the sentiment. It was like, hey, don't plan on this changing.
Goldman Sachs, guys, biggest bank in the world. Jesse, let's talk about this too. If you're a seller and you're thinking, I'll wait around. I'm going to wait to sell because I think that buyers, when rates fall, are really going to go somewhere. Oh, are you not in our Zoom? I'm sharing the screen. Huh.
It's not sharing.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, it's definitely shared. So that's funny. It's slide 21, Jesse. Even a small change in rates can help. Okay, cool. So I buy a $400,000 home, right, Jesse?
Yep.
And the rate's 7%. My mortgage, my monthly principal and interest, this does not include taxes and insurance.
Right.
Is $2,600 for a $400,000. Okay, can everybody just agree and give me an amen that $400,000 is a starter home?
Yeah.
$2,600. Oh, well, I'll wait as a seller because when rates fall, it'll make a big impact. Did you know if rates fell a half point on that home, it only changed the payment by $133 a month? I have bad news for everybody. $133 a month gets chewed up in a heartbeat by 3 meals out, 2 meals out, could be 1 meal out, depending on what you purchased or if you got alcohol.
Yeah.
I took my kids to George's last night, 5 of us, for a little celebratory dinner. Listen, I bought my son. He didn't want to order the ribeye, sweet kid. It's $40. By the way, I always say that George's is fair. When I got out of there with 5 of us, we were about $160.
I can say a couple $100.
I did 1 meal to George's. By the way, guys, 0 sodas. We don't drink alcohol. Don't you think if you're a seller for any second that a little drop in rates is actually going to solve your problem?
It won't.
You've got to do it. And if you're a buyer, here's the problem. I hate do you remember, I love Jeremy Schultzen. We actually sold a home for the Schultzens a while back, an invest property. Remember his ads for Children's Dental? I hate my dentist. You know why those worked? Is it was aggravating. Bless his heart, he's a great dentist. Everyone's like, I hate my landlord. I hate being a tenant. Cool. So you held out for 6 months to save $130 a month? I think I think you should move now if you can make the mortgage payment and start actually, because we're not even going to get into on this slide, the actual economic impacts that you can't see of owning a home. So guys, let's wrap up with this, guys. I want to wrap up with this. Okay. We're going to leave this aside today and move from all the data to reality. Buyers and sellers are waiting for rates to drop. Okay.
Yep.
And why are buyers waiting?
Because they think it's going to be more affordable later, or the market's going to crash. They're either waiting for interest rates to drop or the market prices to drop.
And here's
probably both.
Okay. If you're a buyer and you're waiting for the market to crash, I'm going to give you that one a lot more than I'm going to give you we think it's going to get a lot more affordable. I totally understand the fear that it's going to crash. I want to speak to it. In 2007, when the market crashed, every single economic factor that could have led up to a crash led up to it. Mm-hmm. We had record numbers of homeowners with no equity and negative equity in their homes. Yeah. We are today, guys, record number of homeowners with equity. 38% of homeowners in America have no mortgage. 50% have 50% in equity or more. Guys, you have to write this down that it was the 21st of August, 2025. We cannot have a major foreclosure event again in the country. It's actually not statistically possible. So that's my thing for buyers who think it's going to crash. Okay. Now listen, could there be some sort of weird economic event we don't know about? Sure. Sellers are waiting for rates to fall. Why?
Because they think their prices are going to come back fast.
They do. What was the analysis we just ran? Even if rates fell a half point on a $400,000 home, what would that do for a buyer's payment?
$132. And if you think about it, it's taken 3 years for the market to get here. If it drops again, it's going to take 2 or 3 years for it to come back. It's not going to be instantaneous.
It's not.
And we would have to be absolutely insane as a country to drop it to 3% mortgages again.
They're not going to. They're not going to because the inflation that we all experienced, and the thing I hate about economic talk is it gets so nebulous because most people aren't economists. Just remember what inflation is, guys. Let me break it down to you in English. The cost of everything that you buy got way too expensive. Yeah. There's inflation. Mm-hmm. You don't need an economic description. Yeah. There's the actual mom and pop right here on Tabernacle Street and 600 East definition. And it was the same in Santa Clara and Washington City and Little Valley. And so look, because of the inflation, the inflationary kind of outcomes, they're not going to drop rates down there. Now listen, if rates fell a full point, it would be really helpful. Yeah, it would. But I have to tell you something. There is a record number of sellers who are sitting on sub 4% mortgages that don't want to move. Mm-hmm. And so we're not going for people who are waiting, like sellers who are thinking that prices are going to go explode again if rates fall. One of the reasons they really prices probably won't do that is there are just too many sellers that don't want to sell. Yeah. And they're basically, they're rate locked. So right.
What would happen though is it would stabilize the amount of sellers versus the amount of buyers. Yeah, right?
Perfect.
So because right now that's a little bit lopsided. You've got in the country, 120,000 buyers and 180,000.
Yeah, here sellers. In the West. Yeah. So there are a third more sellers than buyers.
That
in the West.
Would equalize a little bit, and so you'd have a more balanced market. But would it go crazy? I don't know. I don't think so.
In our final minute, guys, I'm Jeremy Larkin, Jesse Paul, my business partner with the Larkin Group, Keller Williams Realty. We shoot our program every week from Larkin Group headquarters, the old Cameo Florist building. Yep. Like we're just real guys. If you want to visit with us, you can either Google the Larkin Group or you can visit gostgeorge.com, GOSTGeorge.com. We definitely don't bite, and I promise what we can do is we'll give you the truth about your situation with no sugar, and I think most people want it that way. It's true. They don't think they do, but when they get right down to brass tacks, they're like, can you just tell me what we're dealing with here? Right. Over and out. Have a great week.
Thanks for having us.